Okay, now we go on to chapter 18 of ST42, ST42.18, Nadi Sutta, where it's discourse on the river. Okay, I'm not sure if there are other Nadi Suttas. If there are, then we have to put in a prefix to it. Here, currently, there seem to be other Nadi Suttas. So there's no conflict here. S22.93. The theme here is grasping at any notion of self only brings us suffering. But here, especially deals with Sakaya Ditthi. This sutta deals with our attachment or our identifying with any of the five because with regard form, feeling, perception, formation, so consciousness as the self. That's me, my personal, permanent self. Okay? So let's look at this sutta straight away. So slightly longer than the previous sutta. The discourse on the river, S22.93. This is on page 96. At Savatthi. Then the Blessed One said this. Bhikshus, it is just as a river coming down from the mountain in the distance, flowing swiftly. On both sides, on both its banks, if Kan's grass were growing there, they would overhang from there. If Kusha grass was growing there, they would overhang from there. If reeds or bulrushes were growing there, they would overhang from there. If Birana grass were growing there, they would overhang from there. If trees were growing there, they would overhang from there. So here we have this very beautiful scenery, rivers flowing. But remember, this river comes to a high mountain, so the impression here is very clear. The Buddha wants us to picture this river as a water flowing very fast. And then the water is cutting to the ground. So you find that when the river cuts into the ground, the river turns, the path is very deep and the banks are steep. Okay? So the grass there, plants there will just overhang. The trees there also will hang towards the water. That means their roots are not very strong. And there's something else here. Okay? This is just the first part of the parable. Now look at the second part of the parable, section 4. Now if a person were being carried off by these currents, if he were to grasp the Kan's grass, they would break off. If he would, so that he would thereby come to disaster and destruction, right? So if this person is carried by the water and he tried to hold on to the grass won't hold. It will just come off. The tree also will fall off, will get uprooted. If he were to grasp the Kusha grass, they would break off, so that he would thereby come to disaster and destruction. If he were to grasp the reeds, they would break off, so that he would thereby come to disaster and destruction. If he were to grasp the Birana grass, they would break off, so that he would thereby come to disaster and destruction. If he were to grasp the trees, they would break off, so that he would come to disaster and destruction. So this is a picture of someone being washed away. Right? So here, who is the Buddha talking about? He's talking about someone who believes in the idea of a permanent self, someone who identifies one of the five areas: form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. Someone who has self-identity view. And the river is the world, samsara, pulling us in its currents. In a sense, the plants, the trees, that is the Dharma, but the person's Dharma is weak, it's not strong, so it's not able to help himself. The sutta continues. Even so, bhikshus, an untutored ordinary person, or ignorant worldling, who has no regard for the noble ones and is unskilled and undisciplined in the teaching or dharma of the noble ones, who has no regard for the true individuals and is unskilled and undisciplined in the teaching of the true individuals, regards form as the self as possessing form, form as in self, the self as in form. And when that self of his breaks up, he thereby comes to disaster and destruction. Okay, let's examine this. This is a derivative sentence. Got this up. Here, 5.2, this is called the four self-views. These are the four self-views. In other words, if anybody believes in the idea of some kind of abiding self, some kind of permanent soul, some kind of eternal essence, he will fall into one of these four categories. So this is explained in note 221. Okay, let me explain. First of all, what does it mean to say that the first one, form is form as the self, form equals self. Okay? That means the aggregate self is the self. Rupang atato, right? Now here, this is the belief here is that the body is the soul is the body. So when the body dies, the soul also dies. This is a popular belief with the materialists. This is our only life, so when we die, that's the end. So once people have this kind of idea, they will feel, oh, so we should enjoy life as much as we can. It's our only life. If you want to do bad things, do it, but don't get caught. So they are amoral. They don't believe in karma, they don't believe in rebirth. Right? So this is the first group. Okay? Now the second one, Rupa Vantan Attalana. The self possesses the aggregate. The self controls the aggregate. Here, the self is a formless, one of the formless aggregates. So this person regards either feeling, perception, formation, or consciousness is the self. Very often they will regard consciousness as the soul or the self. And this soul controls the body. Okay? The formless here is the mind aspect, right? Possesses or controls form, the body. So this is like a tree and its shadow. Okay? You find that the tree, there's a shadow that looks just like it. Alright? Now in the first case, the parable is that of the flame and the light of the flame. They are the same thing. Okay? So here is the tree and the shadow. So in other words, the soul, which is one of the formless aggregates, controls the body. Okay, this is quite a popular belief, and this is the belief here is that when the body dies, the soul moves on, go to heaven or maybe go to hell. So this is the belief of the God belief as a theistic belief. This is the second kind of wrong view. The third kind of self-view is that the aggregate is in the self, atami rupang. So here, in this case, the belief is that the self is one of the four formless aggregates. Either feeling, perception, formation, or consciousness is the soul, the self. And here it's located in the body. Okay? It is independent of the body, but it's located in the body. This is a popular belief in the Buddha's time among the Brahmins. They believe that there is this big universal cosmic soul, the Brahman, out there, or all around us even. And we are a spark of this divine soul, and we're caught up in this body. Physical body is the prison, so it's impure, and if we get rid of it, even if we die in the process, it's okay because the soul is liberated and goes back to this cosmic soul. Okay? So this is also this idea is based on eternalism. In fact, all the four, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, the last three ideas are based on eternalism, the idea that this soul is eternal. Only the first idea, the first long view, is based on annihilationism. The first idea is based on the idea that the soul is totally exterminated. But in Buddhism, we say these two extreme views, annihilationism and eternalism. This is mentioned in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, S56.11, the very first sutta in the SD series, SD 1.1. Now, the fourth one, that the self is in the aggregate, Sarupasmin Patana. Here, again, the formless mind is the self, and this formless, this self is located in the body. Okay? Okay, when just now, I think number 3, I made a slight mistake, okay? I should say just now, in the case of number 3, it is the self which is in the body, okay? The self is in the form, okay? Now this one, the form is in the self, okay? Like the jewel in the casket. So this is where the aggregate possesses or controls the soul. And here, in other words, the formless aggregate. The soul is the formless aggregate, feeling, perception, formation of consciousness, and it controls the soul. Now, this is a popular animistic belief even today. For example, if someone gets sick, the person believes, oh, some demons or spirit probably trouble this person, so you could do some rituals, some magic, and so on. Or this person could think, have the wrong idea that someone else's soul is troubling this person. This kind of idea. So this is the fourth wrong belief. Yeah. So the notes are all there. If you can read them again, it can take some time for you to understand this. So take your time. If you want the details, of course, you can write to us. We'll send you the detailed notes. There are a few places where we discuss these 4 self-views. Yeah? So in other words, someone who doesn't practice the Dharma, definitely someone doesn't reflect on impermanence, would regard form as something, as a kind of self, or this self is in form and so on. Okay? And formula repeats itself, same thing for feeling. Let me just read through all of them. Section 6 onwards. He regards feeling as the self as possessing feeling, feeling as in the self as in feeling. And when that self of his breaks up, he thereby comes to disaster and destruction. He regards perception as the self as possessing perception, perception as in the self, and the self as in perception. And when that self of his breaks up, he thereby comes to disaster and destruction. Notice the last word, it comes to disaster and destruction. It echoes the parable of the flowing stream, the man in the stream. He regards formations as the self as possessing formations, formations as in the self as in formations. This is karma. And when that self of his breaks up, he thereby comes to disaster and destruction. He regards consciousness as the self as possessing consciousness, consciousness as in the self, and the self as in consciousness. And when that self of his breaks up, he thereby comes to disaster and destruction. So in other words, whenever we have any belief on some kind of self or soul that is permanent or abiding, it will be one of the five aggregates. And the way we believe it will be in one of the four self-views. So if altogether 20 self-views, 4 times 5, 20. Okay, so in other words, here this section is talking about the 20 self-views. Okay. Now the Buddha goes on in a similar tone as the Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, the teaching on the 3 characteristics. So this is an extended teaching on the reflection of impermanence, where the reflection of impermanence become the basis for the reflection on unsatisfactoriness. Both of these become the basis for the reflection on non-self. Okay? Section 10. Now what do you think, bhikshus? Is form permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory or painful? Or is it satisfactory? Unsatisfactory, Bhante. Is what is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself? Not at all, Bhante. So you see here is a question answer, question answer. The Buddha is a question and answer. In other words, monks know the answers to all these questions. It's just a matter of putting all this basic wisdom together, and then you get this bigger wisdom. Then the whole cycle, the whole format is repeated for feeling. Now what do you think, bhikshus? Is feeling permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory or satisfactory? Unsatisfactory, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself? Not at all, Bhante. Now, what do you think, bhikshus? Is perception permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory or satisfactory? Unsatisfactory, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself? Not at all, Bhante. Now what do you think, bhikshus? Are formations permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory or satisfactory? Unsatisfactory, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself? Not at all, Bhante. Now what do you think, bhikshus? Is consciousness permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Bhante. Is what is impermanent unsatisfactory or satisfactory? Unsatisfactory, Bhante. Is what is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself? Not at all, Bhante. Right, so you have a very interesting, very simple sequence here. First, look at what we are. What we are the 5 aggregates. That's all, no more, no less, as human beings, right? So if you start with form and you say, okay, is it impermanent or not? Feeling, impermanent or not, and so on. Definitely they are impermanent. So if they are impermanent, then are they really satisfying? Not at all. So we establish 2 truths now: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness. So the Buddha says, okay, if you look at this, every one of these 5 aggregates, they are impermanent and they are satisfactory. Whatever is impermanent, unsatisfactory, can you say there is a self? Can you own it? Can you tell any of your aggregate, the body or the mind, don't change? Be like this forever? You can't. So, there is non-self. Very easy to understand, right? So you have all the 3 characteristics explained. Very clear question-answer way. So just take a bit of time to reflect on this after you have listened to this talk. Go back to the sutta, read it, or listen to your favorite section again, and then switch off all sounds, just reflect on it. Then you have something a little deeper, the non-self-totality formula. So here the Buddha is saying, everywhere this is the case, right? Because some people may think, oh, okay, Maybe outside the fire brigades, there might be something different, something permanent. But the Buddha said, not so, everywhere is the same thing. Look at section 15 now. Therefore, bhikshus, any kind of form whatsoever, whether past, present or future, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, all forms should be seen as they really are, with right wisdom thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Right, so this is the antidote to Sakkaya Ditthi. This is the antidote to self-identity view. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Notice this, the totality formula. Form, whether past, future or present, defined in terms of time. Form in the past, form in the present, form in the future. They're all the same, impermanent. Internal or external. Okay, here I'm giving the natural interpretation. The commentary was slightly different. Okay, you can read out the commentary translation below in note 35. Yeah? Internal means your own. Okay? External, other people. The same, they're all impermanent. Gross or subtle. Whether these aggregates are physical or mental, also impermanent. Inferior or superior, whether they are of this world, sense world, or in the non-sense world, that was form world, form jhana, formless jhana, they are also impermanent. Far or near, whether in this world or in some faraway world, in some parallel universe, there is form, they are all impermanent. So this is a kind of theory of everything. Another of those theory of everything, right? The first theory of everything by the Buddha is the all are our aya, no, stand, body, mind. Okay? And this one is the second theory of everything. These 5 decades, wherever they are, what in terms of time, in terms of space, in terms of nature of arising, they're all impermanent. The same thing is said of feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. Then comes the result of this kind of practice, section 16. Seeing thus, bhikshus, the learned noble disciple is revulsed or disenchanted with form, revulsed with feeling, revulsed with perception, revulsed with formations, revulsed with consciousness. The word revulsed, very strong word, nibidati. Okay? Here, people who don't practice the Dharma probably say, wow, this word is too strong. We should not use the word revulsed. Sometimes some translators use the word disgusted. Okay? Meditators will tell you, that's fine, Because if you get burned by fire, you don't say, oh, I'm disillusioned with fire. You say, I'm revulsed by it, I fear it, I don't like it, I'm not going to put my hand in the fire again, I'm going to get burned. So if we understand the nature of the fire aggregates, we do not want to be cheated anymore by the fire aggregates. That's the meaning. Yeah, revulsed. Finally, section 17, through revulsion, he becomes dispassionate. So once you see the nature of aggregates as they really are, you have no desire for them. You slowly let go of it. You begin to be able to let go of them. Of course, as streamliness, we still would, get caught up with them. It's the Arhat who is able to totally let go of all the aggregates, right? Totally free from them. So, by as streamliness, we still get caught up with them, but we are somehow able to keep our distance. And that's the meaning of dispassion, right? We learn to let go. We are still letting go bit by bit. Through dispassion, his mind is liberated, right? So when you begin to let go of craving, the mind is free. When he is liberated, or when it is liberated, when the mind is liberated, there arises the knowledge. Free your mind. He understands, destroyed his birth, the body life has been lived. What needs to be done has been done. There is no more of this state of being. So this is the famous Arahathood formula or pericope. Destroy this birth. There's no more rebirth, no more fuel for becoming again. This body has, the holy life has been lived, in other words, training is completed, you've graduated. It's the Arahat, completely finished. What needs to be done has been done. Nothing more to do. It's like a retirement, a holiday, so to speak. Very relaxed, very comfortable in this case. There is no more of this state of being, right? No more suffering. Free, awakened. And the Arahat is happy, is able to show his happiness to others, is able to help others. It's not a negative state at all. Now let us do a short reflection. We are complete in body and mind, so we're able to reflect on the true nature of our body. When we look at our body, we only see one universal truth: impermanence. This one truth, of course, contains two other aspects, or opens up to two other aspects. That is, what is impermanent is also unsatisfactory. It cannot totally satisfy us. What is impermanent and unsatisfactory means there's nothing permanent, no abiding self, no eternal essence. There's nothing to despair here. In fact, something to rejoice in. In other words, there's nothing for us to be attached to. Even good things come and go, bad things too come and go, and we remain calm and stable. And in that sense, we are happy and peaceful, and we share that happiness and peaceful with others. Reflecting in this way is very wonderful good karma. By such wonderful good karma, may we be at peace with ourselves, be happy and joyful and prosper in this life itself, growing in wisdom and in our inner peace. By the same token, above all these good deeds, good karma, may we attain spiritual liberation, especially stream winning, in this life itself. In this moment of peace, let us send out our loving kindness to all those people we care for, people important to us. May they be well, may they be happy. Even people who are distant from us, far from us, may they too be well and happy. And they can see the Dharma for themselves so that they'll be liberated. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.